Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Killer Collab Podcast. My name is Tone Deaf in Florida, Tony D. Welcome. And to my left, as always, joined by Chris Lato from Reaper Films.
Howdy.
Hi, Chris. Doing good today?
Doing great.
It's a little later afternoon. This is the time that I think we should do.
I hate this time.
Wow, well, deal with it. We should change it.
We usually do at 10 in the morning.
Yeah,
Eastern.
I don't like that. Anyway, especially since I get off work at 4 o'clock in the morning, so it's not as good for me. Today we have very special guests. Fantastic. I'm so glad we had a chance to get them on. Danny Roebuck and Tammy Roebuck. How are we doing today?
We're
doing good.
Good. We got double Zoom.
Your listeners
call.
might be confused that we're in two different places. We're actually fighting. And
And you move 3,000 miles away?
I won't speak to Tammy directly. You tell Tammy that I said good morning.
Tammy, Danny says good morning.
good morning. Good morning, honey.
The truth is we've been Tammy together 9 years almost, right? 9, married, nearly 6. We've yet to have one fight.
Well, together being the word that used loosely.
Yeah, that's right. Together apart. We've actually, only been together for about a month and a half total.
Well, I think you solved the whole divorce crisis. Just move 3,000 miles away. You guys stay together forever. I think this works. I think that's a new.
When I get young people, I'm like, listen to me. I don't have a lot of time to tell you, but do this. Live 3,000 miles apart. I swear to God, here she comes.
So
Hey, you guys are getting married.
Are you actually living in California?
Well, our residence is in Florida.
Right.
We have a home in California because I work here a lot. But I've been here up until I got here from the Hail Mary. I've been here 5 weeks in 12 months.
Right.
That's not a lot of time to paying what I pay to live here.
Right.
But it's a necessity.
Absolutely.
Have a home here. And then we moved a lot in Pennsylvania where I grew up, Bethlehem, Lehigh Valley. That's where we make our movies.
Right.
So we're there too a lot. So we've triangulated.
Yeah, that's a big triangle. Because I'm from Jersey, so I definitely know the difficulty in that travel.
Tell that you were from Jersey.
I'm
Tone deaf. Is it tone deaf? Tone D? What is it?
Tone deaf in Florida. Tone
deaf.
Tone deaf in Florida. Yeah, you don't want me to sing because that's why I'm tone deaf. But also definitely in Florida right now. But I am from Jersey, from Atlantic City. That's right.
Oh, nice.
I born and raised in high school, and up until I moved out here, I was 2015. I moved out here. So.
Oh, you're new.
Oh yeah, very new.
Florida.
Fresh blood.
You're a little. I got there a little before you did.
I mean, I love it. I'm never moving back. I love the weather. Even today, it's kind of chilly. I think it was like 70.
Yeah. It's funny. Whenever the temperature dips below 70, out come the scarves and gloves and coats.
Right.
The winter
The
coats.
galoshes.
Yeah, the women grab the UGG boots, and you get to wear it for 1 week.
Right.
Conversely, we were making a movie. Remember Tam in Montana and
Minnesota.
No, in Minnesota. That's right. And the weather went crazy while we were there. It was usually 20 below, and one day it was like 47. People were at the Walmart in shorts. I swear to God,
man,
never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I shot a movie. Someone hired me to shoot a movie in Atlanta, and I have a friend that lives there, so I stayed with him the whole week. And I drove up there, and it was the coldest day in Atlanta history. It was like in the teens. And I had a drink in my car, and when I came out the next morning, it was frozen. That's how cold it was. And we're having to shoot outside, and it was raining and freezing. Like, it was not fun.
Yeah,
It's not-
We got
yeah,
some
it was
nice
not what you
shots, though.
signed up.
We got some nice shots.
that doesn't sound fun like
It
at
was
all.
not good.
I think that, Tammy, you were in Minnesota for your first adult snowfall.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Yeah,
I think it was April too. It was.
Right.
Yeah, and it was
it's a late winter.
blizzard conditions. Yeah.
I've only seen snow one time in my whole life. In Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's so interesting.
It is. I can't tell you how many times I've shoveled my driveway just to go to work. Like I had to shovel my driveway to go to work, and then I shovel myself back into my driveway. That was my work in Jersey for
Yeah, you
winter.
keep the shovel right where you were going to park again,
Yep.
so you could get back at the end of the day.
Oh yeah. Because I used to get home at like 4:00 in the morning because I worked in the casinos, and it was always just like solid ice, and you just had to like.
No way.
Oh yeah, and the black ice was a really bad thing. So it was. Oh.
Yeah, my cousin lived in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and I went up there to visit him. And I got in the back seat of his car and I picked this thing up. I was like, "What is this thing?" He's like, "It's to scrape the ice off your windshield." And I was like, "Why do you live here?" Like, I don't understand why anybody would live there. He's from
No,
Florida.
it means not. Listen, like the good people of Minnesota, this is just how it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We went up to Edmonton. We took Getting Grace up to Edmonton, and what was Christie's joke? Oh, we have 2 seasons: construction and snow and
Right.
construction or whatever.
Yeah.
Like whenever it wasn't
They build
snowing,
everything when it's not
they were
snowing.
fixing the road.
That's funny.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Well, you can say the same thing for Tampa. It's just summer in construction. Tampa, it's always under construction. I don't know that I-4 is never going to be done. I don't know. They've been working on it for
They've
like
been working on
25
that
years.
forever.
25 years they've been working on that road.
Right.
So I don't know, but
So Danny just got a new role, a pretty cool
Yeah, how
one,
about that? Yeah.
pretty amazing. Why don't you tell everybody what it's about?
Well, I'm the new Grandpa Munster.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's really there's Grandpa over my shoulder.
I can't see
You
that
know,
far. I don't have my glasses.
Wouldn't that be funny if you were like, thank you.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
using, we
One of
we
those
should
film-
plan that.
Yeah.
We should plan that one day.
Yeah, maybe next time. Yeah, but that'd be good. Like, oh, thank you. Oh, I see it.
So, yeah. So we're, I've been a Munsters fan my whole life.
Same.
My whole life.
Right.
In fact, Tammy too. When we were in the car driving, and Rob called to see if I would play that part. Tammy was wearing a Lily Munster shirt. I
Oh
think.
wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Weird.
You put it out into the universe.
Amazing
Crazy.
timing. Yeah.
But it comes back to one thing: God is good, and everything that's supposed to be is.
Right.
So I
Absolutely.
spent my whole life obsessed with this kind of thing.
Yes.
So to then be part of this kind of thing at a level, A, that it's a Rob Zombie film, which means it's going to be a great movie director, and B, I'm a Universal Studios Count Dracula. That's who I am.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
That's a pretty good thing for a character actor from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Now you've been in a lot of his movies. How did you get linked up with him?
Well,
Rob
it was funny. We met initially, oddly, over the Munsters. We kind of know each other because of the Munsters.
That's why I called you.
One day we were in a store that's closing now. It's called Kitcraft, and it was a place where you could buy resin model kits, which was the hobby was just growing about 25 years ago, 27 years ago, was just growing, and they would have resin model kits there. And we went in one day to look at stuff, and Rob came in, and my friend John Gilbert said, "Oh, hello, Mr. Zombie. What a pleasure to meet you." And I said, "What the hell did you just call this guy?" He goes, "This is Rob Zombie, don't you know?" So what the Munster thing was, John went. He was there because he was selling the kits he made, and he had an Uncle Gilbert model kit in his car that he had made. Uncle Gilbert is the creature from the Black Lagoon, who's the uncle of the Munsters.
Yes.
And so he brought it in and beat Rob out of some money. And I mean, so that's when I met him initially. Then a few years later, I went with my great friend Kevin Burns, who's passed away now. He's gone a year. Kevin is the biggest Munsters fan in the world. I'll say that even though he's with Jesus now, he's Munsters fan of the world. Rob's the biggest Munsters fan on the planet Earth. He is.
Yes.
He still wins, I think. But we went to see an Elvira movie. Elvira's Hidden Hills, I think. And Rob was there at the screening, and Kevin and I were there, and so that's where we re-met again.
Oh wow. That's just a small world that you guys just bump into each
That's
other.
fate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. Interesting, huh? So, and then he put us in the first movie, which was his second. I didn't know him before he made. I didn't know him when he made the other one, Devil,
Thousand Corpses.
House of a Thousand.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
And then I met him between House and Devils, and then we ended up in Devil's Rejects, and then he's been gracious to put me in everything since then.
Now I was very curious about this. Now his set and his how is his set compared to other a lot of movie sets? Like, is it more chaotic, or is he just like,
Oh no!
is he always on? Is he always
no,
on?
no. Filmmakers should know. No. His sets are run meticulously.
Fantastic.
He is a very specific filmmaker. Although he, as an actor, there's always leeway to bring something else to it. He doesn't dig in there. But everything you're seeing, the visualization, comes from his imagination. Fevered mind of Rob Zombie.
That's why I was curious, because I'm thinking like of the Stanley Kubricks of the time, or like Rob Zombie has just always had that eclectic, like, bam, everything going on at once, and like there's like just so much going on, like not just explosions, but with the gore and just in that. I'm just curious how that mind works.
Yeah, he's always unching it up. Yeah. But like the beginning of 31, where Richard Brake comes out and he does his monologue and plays his guitar. And it looked great. Richard's a great actor. I'm sitting there in that chair. I had been in makeup for hours, and you can't even tell, but I've been bruised and cut all over everywhere. And, I'm tied to the chair, and we're ready to go. And Rob says, okay, let's turn on the water. And I'm like, what?
What?
What water? Because, the first thing he goes, they're just going to dribble some water on you. Now I've got fake blood, and I know what that means now. My hands are tied. My feet are tied. They're going to start dropping water on me. And it's good. Blood in this eye, blood in this eye, blood in my mouth. And, they start dropping the water. I'm sitting there and I'm miserable. And I say, can I just say one thing before you go? Rob goes, yeah. I said, other people let me star in their movies. They don't just kill me in the first 5 minutes. All right, let's shoot this. But, it's like even that, somebody else wouldn't have thought of the water.
Yeah, that was just way out of left field. Like, I'm just making it run down. Chris kills me in all his movies, so I don't.
Tony has a head that we put in like every movie.
Yeah, so
that's funny. And once you have your own severed head, people cast you for that head.
Yep, exactly.
They have no interest in your actual ability as an actor. Nope. They just know that if they cast you, they're going to save $1,700.
Yep, for my head. They literally just to chop my head off in every movie.
Yeah, bring your head.
So you got hit with a cleaver, a samurai sword.
Yeah.
And then we just used it as just a regular
prop.
head in the background.
Yeah, it's a prop. My head's been in more movies than I have.
My luggage, it's been in more countries than I have. Funny. Yeah, my luggage, I travel so much, my luggage goes places. And, it always tells me what a good sense postcards. It's nice. It's nice.
Does it go, wish you were here?
But Rob as a filmmaker is a very astute filmmaker, and he's a student of film. He watches movies. Yeah. He doesn't watch, Last House on the Left all the time. He watches, Greta Garbo movies. Right. Always looking for the performance.
Funny, I remember when they had MTV Cribs. They went to his house one time, and he had all this cool Kiss. He had a lot of Kiss stuff. He had a lot of weird Kiss stuff. Like he had one where Gene Simmons, like blood comes out of his mouth and like all kinds of weird stuff.
It was like a fountain, wasn't it, or something like that?
But his house was like amazing. It was like a museum of just cool stuff,
Yeah, I like that. I always wonder what goes on in his mind. Like, just like waking up every day, like how do I kill somebody today? I'm just very curious.
He's been working a number of projects off the ground that had nothing. One was about hockey. One was about Groucho Marx.
Now, do you talk to him regularly, like actual friends?
Well, it's I don't bother people. I'm not a real schmoozer. It's funny, people might think I'm a schmoozer because I do generally like people, but Rob Zombie's very busy, so I don't,
Yeah. Yeah.
We talk when there's something to talk about, but I never call him up and I'm like, "Hi, what are you doing?" It's just not. It's just not my way anyway. I just understand how professionally busy he is.
Sure.
But I always love when he calls. I mean, when he called, we were driving in the car. My phone was plugged into the rental car. His name came up. There's always something fun when he calls.
I imagine.
Hope I'm that guy for other people. But when he calls me, it's always something fun.
That's cool. I'm actually going to see him in concert next week.
Oh, nice.
At Rockville up in Daytona. He's going to be there.
Are you going to go backstage? Do you do that? Get the
If you can get me some backstage passes, hell yeah.
Oh, you got to buy them.
That's why I had you on the show, Dan.
No.
So you can get some backstage passes.
Oh,
Well, if
man.
you snore your way backstage, you can say that you just interviewed Tammy and I.
But yeah, I saw him a couple of years ago and fantastic. Like, he was so good in concert.
No, it's a great show.
It was amazing.
Tammy, have you ever? I don't think you've ever seen him. I've only seen him.
Not in concert, no, not yet.
You got to imagine, for me, going to see Rob Zombie perform, like I'm working with the director on these films.
Yeah,
Right.
he's doing his role.
Dan,
now.
what if Dan? How about Dan? Would this be Dan? And then I'd say, I was liking it too. Like if you were Rod Taylor and you're working with Hitchcock, and he was like, "Why don't you come? I'm in the ice capades." And you're like, "You're in the ice capades."
Yeah.
And watch, him have this out. I feel like we're not talking to Tammy at all.
I was just going to Tammy just now. I was wondering what her next project is or what she's working on right now.
Oh gosh, I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm doing a lot of local commercials.
Oh, fantastic.
I've also just got back from the Bourbon Trail doing interviews with bourbon distilleries.
Oh, nice. I love me some bourbon.
Yeah. So it's been quite an education. I know more about bourbon than I ever thought I would. So that's the beauty about my job, is that I start learning about companies and businesses and how it works, and it's very fascinating. So I'm working on that, and then of course our own feature films. I'm almost finished editing the film we did last year, Lucky Louie.
Oh. Tell me about that.
And then, yeah. Well, Lucky Louie, when COVID hit, we were literally in Pennsylvania on March 11th having a press conference in Bethlehem to announce our nonprofit, A Channel of Peace, and announcing that we were going to come in the summer and film The Hail Mary, which is a film Danny wrote over a number. Well, you had the idea for a number of years, but you actually wrote it rather quickly. And so we announced our nonprofit, that we're doing our feature films as a nonprofit project, and the next day the world shut down. Yeah. So we kind of regrouped. I flew to LA because everything was shut down. So I thought, well, this would be the perfect time to really see if we like each other. And we got to quarantine and kind of spend a couple months together. And Danny decided to write a movie with his daughter Grace that maybe we could do in lieu of the Hail Mary, because that was a football movie, and we wouldn't have been able to do a football movie. So I'll kind of let Danny pick it up from there.
Well, there was just, I think we all have to be aware of when, I will say this, when our government oversteps its authority, and when we were all shut down and they were saying, you can't create, and nobody's ever going to tell me I can't create.
Yeah.
And I think every artist has to. I was kind of sickened that the artist folded immediately.
Right.
I didn't understand why that immediately Broadway shut down and nobody was like, let's figure out a way to do it.
Yeah, even they shut us down for like 2 weeks, and then like literally I had a couple. I was streaming concerts. That's what I was doing. I was streaming concerts for local bands and local bars, so they can actually have some entertainment or whatnot. And then I got shut. The police came in. They shut me down. Like, it was ridiculous. I was just streaming the band, and the band was 6 feet apart, and they literally shut us down. Like, we couldn't even stream doing anything in my business in general. So they definitely overstepped a little bit. But like I said, Florida was only shut down for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
That's what it felt like.
because we got an awesome governor.
I mean, it's not. I don't want to veer towards a political discussion.
Oh, no.
But I just think all men and women in the United States have to be leery when all you got to do is read one book on World War II.
Yeah.
Called The Rise and the Fall of the Third Reich, and you read one book, and you'll learn just how a government starts overstepping and taking your freedom.
Right.
Anyway, I wasn't going to take it anymore.
That's okay. Like I said, you can talk about anything here.
I wasn't gonna take it. So we sat, not even months, maybe weeks, and then I said we got to do something. So I pitched Gracie and this idea, and it's really fun. It's about a old retired cop who could never solve a bank robbery, so he teams up with his Bible study, which is 4 ex-convicts that he arrested and rehabilitated, and a forensic psychology major shows up, and together they work on trying to figure out how this bank got robbed 50 years ago and where the money went.
Oh, wow, very interesting.
Yeah, it's like something you've never seen.
Yeah.
And with the Channel of Peace, Tammy and I and our partner Aaron McLean, when we conceptualized this from the beginning, it was, can we make movies that have an element of faith, but aren't faith based in the terms of how they're not hitting you over the head with faith.
Just the undertones of
it's just about. So I'm making movies that are entertainments. Lucky Louie is, no one will say, well, this cliche-ridden movie. There's never been a movie where a guy takes his Bible study of ex-convicts and they try to solve a crime.
Yeah. No, never seen that.
Nope.
Yeah. I invite people, and we'll talk about it, I hope, more, but people can go to achannelofpeace.org.
I'll link it in all of our descriptions.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, they can see the trailer, the preliminary trailer for Lucky Louie and photos of the Hail Mary. But it's the real joy, like you're the killer collab. We're collaborators, Tammy and I.
Collaborators.
We're just not married people. We're 2 artists that have come together to kind of have this opportunity to create together, and then my daughter is another member of our group, and like we create. It's just great to be able to create with the person you love the most.
Yeah.
Right. And as collaborators go, when it comes to making commercials and whatnot, I'll work with Tammy on those sometimes, and I always defer to her on how that goes. And on the movies, I think I'm right, Tammy. You generally would defer to me on how that goes.
Yeah.
But once we, our great friend and producer Chris Monte edited Getting Grace, the first movie we made.
Yeah.
And out of necessity, because of COVID and the limited budget we were on, it was decided Tammy would edit Lucky Louie. So I did a pre-edit of all the scenes, and then we edited the movie together. And then we realized, gosh, this is another thing we can do together. And we enjoy. Like, we get up every morning and we be so excited to have our coffee and go into the next scene.
Right. That's a perfect scenario. Like, I always wanted to find somebody that enjoyed my passion or shared my passion and something like that. It's just, you just lucked out. You just hit the lottery.
Well, again, we refer back to God as good.
Absolutely.
When Tammy and I both got divorced, neither of us had any plans to remarry.
Yeah.
I was actively not going to remarry anyway.
I understand that.
And then,
absolutely.
And then you meet Tammy, and you're like, well, I didn't realize I'd meet Tammy.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Tammy's the exception.
I was divorced twice. I was divorced twice, and I was like, never getting married again, and now I'm engaged. So
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like
Sucker.
it just happens, you know. It's just,
You know,
Third time's a charm for
Third
me.
time's a charm,
Maybe for you too, Chris.
yeah, I got a good one.
I always say Tammy's my third wife, and she goes, "I'm your last wife,"
Yeah, there you go.
which sounds like a threat to me.
How's that insurance policy? No, I mean, never mind.
That's our common joke. She asked for, she had a headache. She goes, "Can you bring me some of those aspirin?" And I came out and I said, I had the aspirin in my hand. I said, "Hey, did you pay your life insurance?" She goes, "Yeah." And I handed her like 300 aspirin. I shouldn't even joke about that.
Oh,
Nothing
no.
better happened to
Yeah, I
Tammy.
know, right?
Don't they ever,
Anyway, how the hell am I going to get these movies made if something happens to Tammy?
Tammy, what do you like more? Do you like doing commercials or do you like doing movies?
I'm really liking movies because I've been doing commercials for 30 years.
Right.
So for me to have an opportunity to do feature films, I'm learning a lot. Like, and I've made mistakes, and
We all have.
Yeah, we all
and
have.
I
You
have
just gotta
people
learn
to
from them
rely
and
on.
get better.
Yeah, we just got to learn from our mistakes and just improve it. Whether it's our our techniques. Well, I mean, our techniques age over time. They pretty much they're different artsy shots, different ideas. They just get better and they evolve into a lot of different scenarios. And that's the best part about our careers is that we literally just can get better, and our translation from our mind, just like Rob Zombie, from his mind to what we see on the screen, there's just a full manipulation of us and them of the entire screen. That's what we do. Like, we see it in our mind and then we make it happen, and that's one of our beneficial things that we can do. We just make people see our vision, and that's wonderful. That's what I like about our career.
I think that doing a 30-second commercial for a broadcast station it's not as detailed and specific, and there's so many things that go into a feature film.
Absolutely.
Even past my, once I finish the initial edit, then getting it to our composer to score, and then our sound team, like you just learn so much, the much larger aspect of filmmaking, and it's.
But I want to compliment you, Tammy. I mean, you're watching your commercials have gotten better even in the last 9 years because Tammy's. I'm telling, like, look, when we make a movie, we have an hour and 45 minutes to tell a story or ish, right?
Yeah.
And she's got to get all the information in 30, and then she's got to cut a 15 of the 30, and you're just kind of astounded at how good she is at shaving down to essential information and points to get across. And I think when we started dating, people had more. They would always push back against some commercials, and now I think I know that you don't get such pushback anymore. Yeah. And I just think that she's become a better storyteller through the filmmaking process.
And that's what we talk about evolution. Like, from our early techniques, we just learned to get our voice out, and that's literally the best part of it. Now, you spoke about the nonprofit. Tell us a little bit more about the nonprofit you started.
Well, I've had this idea about when we made our first movie, Getting Grace. You guys, it's terrific. People can go to Amazon and find it. They can buy it, Apple TV, whatever. It's just really turned out well. But there's still you take your movies through the distribution channels, and then there's always this disconnect where you're the author of the movie, and then all of a sudden someone else is saying it's their movie, and they don't
making any money.
They're not the author of it. They're not the creator of it. They're not. They have nothing to do with it. But now they're going to claim ownership of it, and it's paying people back when you equity finance. And this is a message for all filmmakers. You equity finance. I'm trying my best to be a good, faithful person, taking people's money, and you can't ever have an idea you're not going to pay it back. You want to pay it back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I did not like that aspect in which I was responsible for people's money.
Yeah.
I'm a filmmaker, but I'm not a banker. And once the thing is out of your hand, it's debilitating at how little you can do about it, right? So, all right, that's the long leeway or the long the story. I just wanted to create a system in which we could make these movies, and it wasn't about making profit; it was about making a difference.
Yeah.
And that's really the only way. You have to kind of give yourself. You have to free fall into that. So now this really does mean, with no exaggeration, I write, produce, direct, and star in the movie for free. Not any money, nothing, none. And the same is true, unfortunately, for Tammy. So we are reliant on a man to give us other jobs, pay our bills.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know that it'll be like that. It's not unreasonable to create this thing and eventually figure a way to pay ourselves a fair salary.
Yes.
So I don't know that it'll always be like this, but I would much rather pay as many of the other people who work with us as I can.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. I mean, we make the movies on such small budgets.
Absolutely.
It would be our blessing one day when somebody with, real money comes to us and says, I really see what you're doing has value, and I want to make a contribution. Because the great thing is it's tax deductible. Any contribution we make is tax deductible. So that helps us find partners in filmmaking as well. People helping us with catering, people helping us taking money off this. Even this last film, we worked at one location, so we had to have round the clock security.
Oh wow. Okay.
So even the security company liked what we were doing and made us a deal.
So the nonprofit is like a filmmaking.
Yeah, a channel of cases. Go ahead, Tammy.
Yeah, so basically, think of it, it is kind of like an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter campaign where, we do solicit donations, but because we are in a 501c3, it is tax deductible donation. So you're donating to the project, but you are getting tax credit. The other component we have with our nonprofit that's really instrumental in our mission is an education component. So we actually have an internship program where aspiring filmmakers will actually work on our films and get experience to work on a real Hollywood type set and get the experience, doing jobs in the art department or the camera unit or the costumes and wardrobe and makeup. And these students, they get college credit because we have people that actually, they interview them, we bring them on and we track their hours and all that process. But the great thing is that so many of them after the films have reached out to us to just say that the experience they had was really just invaluable, and it reaffirmed or confirmed that that's what they want to do for a living. And we let them also float around to different departments so they can kind of get a taste of, well, what is it like working in grip and electric, or what is it like working in, props and, set design. So they all can kind of, over the span of our filmmaking, get a feel for all the different positions and then maybe hone in on one that they really felt a connection to. I love that.
Speaking of, what was when you first got into this industry, what was the first thing that you did? What was the first job, or how'd you get on stage? Was it lighting, sound, camera?
Tammy?
Tammy, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I actually was, I went to Gaither High School, and there was, back in the 80s, there was a executive internship program that I applied for because of my mentor growing up was Gail Sierens. I wanted to be a sportscaster.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to do play-by-play
for
the NFL.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
that was my goal. And so Gail was my mentor because she had just been promoted to anchor, but she did sports, at the NBC affiliate here in Tampa. And so she mentored me and she told me about this internship program. So I got on the program and I did get accepted because they only took 30 kids out of the whole school year. And I thought I was going to get the Channel 8 job. And I did not get that job. I ended up at the cable company, Jones Intercable, and they were doing the first radio with pictures. They were putting the Q's Morning Zoo from 6 to 10 a.m. They put it live on television and simulcast it. So that was the TV show I got to work on at 17.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. So by the time I was 19, I was actually producing the show and directing the show.
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, I started on radio, if you couldn't tell by my voice. I started on radio. Everyone used to say I had a face for radio, and I guess it just stuck with me. Not that funny.
So once I got behind the camera, I kind of, liked it a lot. And then eventually we turned our station into we started doing high school football and turned it into what later was Bright House Sports Network.
Oh yeah, very nice.
So
what's your camera of choice? What's your camera of choice right now? Because I collect camera. I use so many different cameras. Like, what's your favorite camera that you use? I like to talk gear.
For work, I use Panasonics, but I also use Canon DSLR cameras.
Oh yeah.
For a lot of the stuff I do, and then I like the DSLRs because you can interchange the lenses, obviously. And
that's what we started on.
I started on a Canon T3i.
Yeah, me too. Me too. T3i. I still have it somewhere.
It's funny, through the years I've upgraded and upgraded and upgraded, and every time I get a new camera and start playing with it, I'm like, I think the Canon T3i was the best camera I've ever had. Like, it's crazy. But
it's so user friendly.
It's such a beautiful image, and it was so small that it was easy to do handheld and whatever you need to do, and I kind of miss it.
Now the Panasonic, you use was it a Vera? Was it a Vera? What's it called?
Well, for what I do, it's more like a lot of ENG stuff. So I have the Panasonic HV or HX1.
Yeah. The white one. The white and black one.
The black one.
Yeah.
So, but our movies, Freddie Graves was shot on the Alexa Mini.
Oh yeah.
And
that's my favorite camera. I want it.
Yeah. And then our Lucky Louie and the Hail Mary we shot on the Sony Venice.
Oh yeah.
So,
okay. Brought your.
I mean, it's also, you got to have, like, Getting Grace. We had my brother-in-law who is a gaffer on Chris Nolan's Batman movies, on Inception, on all those Chris Nolan movies. He was our DP, and he's been working, unfortunately, so much, that he hasn't been able to DP our other.
Well, unfortunately for you, fortunately for him.
Right, fortunately for him. But now he's running the Splinter unit. He's running camera on Indiana Jones 5.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's
so that's.
We can't afford him anymore.
Yeah. He's married to my sister, so I can shame him into working with us.
Oh, yeah.
But, it's funny how things work out. So Corey wasn't available, but we hired Dan Herzog, who's shot 2 movies with us. And we love collaborating with Dan. He's a great DP and a great guy. Look, when you make the independent movies, whether you do it through a not-for-profit like we do it, or you equity finance a movie, like, to the other filmmakers, like, if I gave any advice, it'd be like, don't have any a-holes on the set.
Yes.
Just don't have time.
We've had a few.
Yeah, we definitely did. But then our crews started to get smaller and smaller because there's a lot of a-holes in our
It's funny because you were talking about the pandemic. We made 2 features during the pandemic.
Us too. Hey, us too.
One in June and we did one in December.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great for us.
I think there was like 6 on the crew, and
everybody was available.
Well, you guys really kept. So we have. I mean, our 2 movies that had relatively large crews, and then the Hail Mary had a very big cast. It had 25 boys every day plus 12 nuns every day.
Oh yeah.
we had about 50 actors a day for a great deal of the movie.
How
That's a very big cast, and then about 50 people
many shooting
on
days?
crew too.
How many shooting days?
Lucky Louie was 23,
21, 22, maybe.
and then the Hail Mary.
20. I think it ended up 20.
Oh wow, yeah.
I mean, but miraculous. Like the Hail Mary is, it's an epic movie that requires a 10-minute video, a 10-minute football game at the end of the movie,
Right.
and we shot the heck out of that because we had to subterfuge how little extras we had. We only had extras for 2 nights, one for 4 hours and one for 2 hours. But the way we've been editing it together, has been, I mean, that just, I'm not a storyboard director.
Me either.
I know that's probably not the greatest way to do it. I'll come up with a shot list and we storyboard it getting grace, but mostly, especially when you have all those actors, I like the actors to figure out where they're moving, and then I start figuring the shots after.
I storyboard in my head. Like I picture, I literally do the whole scene in my head and how I want to cut it, and that's literally how I storyboard like everything. Like I'm like writing a TV show now, and I'm literally like picking out all the shots, and it's just like going right through it, like the entire episode, how I would like to see it.
The one I don't think it's a problem. Every now and again, I'm missing a shot. Like in my like you, Tony, pre-edited in my head. I'd like to tell a quick story. When I was doing Man in the High Castle at the same time, we were shooting Getting Grace, and they kept calling me to be in an episode, and we kept saying we're not available. My man would say, "Can't you just fly up there and do an episode where Vancouver?" I'm like, I don't think you understand really what it means when I say I'm writing and directing and starring in it. So when I finally got there, the director directed me. He's a Polish director. He had directed me in CSI New York, I think. And now I'm going to use. He used a different word. I'm going to say screwed up. He used a different word, which makes it funnier. But he goes, "Oh, look who's here! Oh my God, here you are! Thank you for coming to our little TV show. You're making what? You can't be here. Why are you so busy? Now look, we have to shoot this scene in this place your character wouldn't even be at. I can't believe it. Where have you been?" And I said, "Well, hold on, don't yell at me. I was directing my own movie, and I don't think I screwed it up." And he looked at me, and he was just so frustrated that we were shooting the scene in the wrong set. And he goes, "You directed your own movie?" "Yeah." I said, "My first movie." "You directed your first movie?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Of course you screwed it up." And every time we'd be editing, and I'd say, "Chris, don't we have? I get that. Don't we have her turn to the?" And he'd say, "No, I looked through it. It's not there."
So you screwed it
and then
up.
I just hear that guy's voice. "Of course you screwed it up."
That's always in the back of your mind.
But I still, the fun of it is when you don't have something, figuring it out. And no one, only you know what you don't have.
Yes.
The audience doesn't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Which is true of everything. So, you put in front of them what you do have, and you can get around it. You know.
Yeah. I remember my first TV show that I missed so many shots. It was so bad. The first show I ever directed, it was so bad. Like it was, I was shooting in Atlanta, and I think the show was called Tipped. It was a pilot, and it was just, it was so bad.
Well, what was bad? You mean you overshot?
Yeah. Oh no, I definitely overshot, and a lot of the I didn't do enough close-ups on particular, and then I had to go back to dub it and to do second audio, and it was so bad. Like I had to, it never got picked up. Let's just put it that way. It didn't get.
You have to surround yourself with first no a-holes and quality people.
Right.
Yeah.
Like in the Lehigh Valley, you guys, we have a team of filmmakers, right, Tammy? Like second to none. I mean, I got great ACs, I get great operators, I got great second camera, I got great producers that we brought up from uh, all three movies. You know, we keep moving them up the ladder and giving them more to do, and they're just terrific. But you know, we've honed our team, and if someone doesn't really work out, you know, there's never like any animosity. We just move
Yeah.
in a different direction afterward.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I was directing in cinematography, so I did both. So that's why it was easy for me to oversee it. Pretty much, like, it just made me just forget about shots. Like, did I get that one? Like, it just was so easy for me to miss a shot because I was doing both.
Yeah, well, because
my mind was going somewhere else, and then I was doing a shot, and then I was thinking about the next shot, and then I just skipped over.
Personally, I don't. At least for me, I don't know how people can direct and shoot at like this.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me because it's two completely different jobs.
Yeah.
And you're trying to direct and shoot and make sure you got all your shots and make sure the performance are. It's crazy.
Well, that was my mistake on the first show.
Well, there's directors who've done it, like Peter Hyams. He doesn't just DP; he operates and directs.
Yeah.
You know, on like Corey, DP. You know, my D at the budget. Look, the fact is, at the budgets we work on, the DP is behind the camera. The first A camera, because you know, just can't afford the one other operator anyway. That's the way they want it, and they're looking at it. I don't know. People always say, "Is it hard to act and direct at the same time?" Although you haven't asked it, let's put that word in your mouth. And I always say it's not hard to act and direct at the same time. I've been doing it in the theater. I've been doing it for 20 years or more. Yeah. I've always done it. So I figured out how to do it. What's hard is acting and producing at the same time, because you're called upon at moments when you should be acting to be worrying about, you know, is the other fire truck going to be here on time? Right. And that's a hard position to be in. But you know, we figured it out. I mean, I cut the movies. I get the performance the way I want it. I generally do my close-ups last. But the other fun part is when you're directing and you're in the scene, if the other actor's not giving you something you want, I could change. Instead of directing them with words, I direct them with my performance.
Oh yeah, it's that mirror, that mirror effect.
You know, I affect, because if you've got real actors, like, you know, like the girl in Getting Grace, Madeline Dundon, had never been in a movie, but she's such a naturally gifted actress that however I re-inflected, she would match with her answer. Oh, yeah. She never did the same thing again and again.
Well, that's definitely a luxury to have on that.
So I've been watching a TV show for the last month and a half, I guess, and it's by far top 10 of my favorite shows of all time. And I'm scrolling through your IMDb, and you were in it.
Which show?
Jane the Virgin.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I noticed.
I wish I had done more of those. When we were making.
I was like, what? I love that show so much. I'm almost done with it. I got like 5 episodes left, and
I think it was making Getting Grace. Also, I can't, if I remember correctly, I think I missed an opportunity or two to go back to that show.
Yeah, I noticed you were in one episode. You played Michael's dad, and the mom was in a couple more episodes later on in the show, and you weren't in it.
Yeah,
I love that show. It's so funny.
I mean, one episode, that Molly Hagan, terrific. Molly, now that's a great actress I've known around town for so long, but we've never worked together until that. So that was nice to finally.
Did they shoot that in Miami? That show?
No, all in LA.
All in LA, because that takes place in Miami. So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, they're good fakers.
Yeah.
Movie magic.
They're good fakers.
But that show is so funny. It's got everything in it. I don't know if you watched the series, but
I didn't. But I was very taken with all of the actors were very gracious.
They're great. I mean, the whole cast is great. They're very likable. It's got comedy, mystery. It's real quirky. I mean, it's just got everything in it, and it's such a funny show. I've been trying to get Tony to watch it.
Yeah, I just
But,
don't have the time.
He's just like,
I don't have the
think
time.
so.
Well, I work
I don't-
full time, and I do this, and I do, I'm writing 2 TV shows and writing 2 movies. Like, yeah, I have time to sit down, like, to watch that TV show.
Well, I mean, we're working in the medium. We should know. Thankfully, I collaborate with my daughter, and she watches everything.
Yeah,
She's very good
I
at it.
watch so much TV and movies.
And so, like last night, I come home late at night. I don't put on Jane the Virgin. I put on Green Acres.
Oh, yeah. Green Acres is the place.
I mean, it's just so well done and so funny,
Yeah, it is a
so
fun show.
simple. You watch, like, the complexity of Jane the Virgin is equaled by the simplicity of Green Acres.
Oh, yeah.
They're on 3 sets. The actors. One of the great directing books, by the way, you guys, is a book on directing by Richard L. Bare, Bare. Everybody should read it. When I met Tammy, I sent her a copy. It's the most basic, brilliant book on how to direct, and how to edit and where to put the camera. I'm on a lot of movies, and I've worked on every strata of movie, on the biggest blockbusters like The Fugitive, and on things that we shoot in someone's backyard because I like to help my friends. And oftentimes when I'm on the smaller movies, I have to say, like, you can't put the camera there. Oh no, it's great. No, you're never going to be able to cut it.
Yeah.
No, it's a great shot. They understand. And I've always wondered how people get to that point, and don't understand.
Well, like I said, like we said before, we learn and evolve. So, we have to make our mistakes and our bumps and bruises and,
Yeah, ever since I started, I always had people that knew way more than me around me.
that's the
and
key. Yeah.
just learned everything I could from them.
Well,
and just kept moving.
Yeah,
on.
we're on great trip supervisors. And I'm not I'd be lying to you if I said I'm the master of the 180 rule. When we're in a scene and I've got 4 people moving
yeah.
their back, it takes me a while to, like, everybody does the same thing. They go like this and they try to see how that's cutting. But you got to learn, but you also have to. But look, that's one of the 2 basics of putting a film together. You have to know the 180 rule.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to know a lot, but you do have to know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I speak a lot in high schools, production classes, and I always tell them, number one, I tell them, if you're going to be a director or a videographer, be an editor too, because it'll make you a better shooter.
Yep.
Because there's nothing worse than an editor getting footage and then they don't have anything to work with.
Oh yeah.
I do a lot of industrial videos for companies, or I'm working on, for example, I work for Big Arts in Sanibel, and they're a performing arts center and they have an art gallery. So when a new artist comes in to do an exhibit, we do an interview with the artist, and then I shoot the exhibit in case there's people that can't get down there, or it just kind of gives them more insight into the artist and what inspired them for their exhibition.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing worse than getting in the edit suite and not having enough footage. Because you don't want to just stare at a guy sitting in a chair or a female sitting in a chair talking.
Yeah,
So
I
I
always.
mean, if it's you sitting talking, I want to
that's nice.
He's supposed
I
to.
always tell them, be in the edit suite, and then you can either watch your editor get very frustrated or very happy.
Yeah, I always
and then you
overshoot the B-roll. Always overshoot the B-roll. That's what I always do. Like, you always have to have that.
Yeah.
It's key.
And please have good audio.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's one of our
Have good
Achilles
audio.
heels. Because like I said, with the small crews that we work with, like we always have to, because availability changes, and we always have to, like, switch either an audio person out, and it's tough. It's tough sometimes. It's very tough.
The last movie, the audio was pretty hard.
What, Dead? Dread?
Zed's dead.
Zed's Dead? Yeah. Oh no. I mean,
You made a movie called Zed's Dead.
yeah.
It was based on the pawn shop owners in Pulp Fiction.
Well, now that's funny because
All the napkins and
one of
stuff.
those Maynard is one of my dearest friends, and
No way, really?
we collaborated many times.
Oh my god.
Let's do a remake.
He's in all my movies that I direct.
No
Oh
kidding.
wow.
Small world.
Dwayne Whitaker,
Well,
Maynard.
I don't know if you would like the one we did. I mean, what they were doing in Pulp Fiction was pretty graphic, and just this plays on that. And
The movie's very graphic.
it's
Very
very
graphic.
Do you have someone playing Dwayne?
Dwayne.
Do you have someone playing Maynard?
Yeah, we had a guy named Duncan. He's a local actor, and he had the beard and the keychain, the bottle opener keychain or necklace. And,
he cut off my head.
he kind of looked a lot like him.
Yeah. Wait, when you're done with that, you got to send it to
Oh,
us.
it's done. I got a Blu-ray. I'll send you a Blu-ray. It's
All right.
very graphic, though. It's very.
That's dead.
If you
No,
like
that's fine.
graphic, racist, like just over the top exploitation, then you'll like
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it's funny you say the word racist. When we're talking
Well, they were
about,
racist in the movie,
Well,
when we're
characters,
talking
but-
about characters in a movie,
Yeah.
or a character can't be. I just say, there's reality and there's false reality,
Right.
Yes.
and people confuse the two often.
Sure.
It's the one thing I hear people say always, that's racist, and it's like, racism has to have intent.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's not.
It's like the
It's
Halloween,
not a
the Halloween
perception.
movie. The Halloween movie that just came out. They were having a petition to get where he's killing firefighters eliminated from the movie. I'm like, what? Let's get some movie. It's not. He's not really killing firefighters. Like it's a movie.
And
Yeah, I mean,
that scene was
like,
People cross
I'm-
that now, and it's kind of crazy to me that people are getting offended by something like that.
like they
Yeah,
made it
was in the trailer.
so horribly obvious. That's not something. It's interesting because if I were making that film, it would be like, well, who are we going to kill? But I would say, let's not just, I personally, I'll be honest with you, I would write it differently. I wouldn't, but that's just me.
Yeah, they just wanted to up the body count. They wanted
Yeah.
they wanted
Well,
to show
they
he was bad and he was back and he was pretty much badass and it was like that entrance to like a WWE when he was coming out the door. It looked like it was like
Right.
entrance to a WWE wrestling match, and it just looked. I just thought
That
the
was
beginning
crazy.
of that, but I didn't.
I mean, it made sense because they were the first responders on the scene.
Yeah,
And I guess it also made sense if you wanted to show your audience that he was killing with impunity
yeah.
without regard for oh no, he's a firefighter, he's a good guy. Oh no, he's a good guy.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
so I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong when I say that. They're never going to call me to direct that, so it doesn't really matter.
You never know.
Well,
They called you to play Grandpa Munster.
Yeah,
When does production start on that?
it's an ongoing production.
Oh, on the Munsters?
Yeah, ongoing.
Fantastic. Good times. Oh man.
It's all perfect. Mr. Zombie is the relator of all Munsters information. I like to think of it as I'm one of the Oompa Loompas, although I'm a little tall. He is the Willy Wonka. So when he wants people to know about the everlasting gobstopper, then they'll know.
So there's no
I make it-
schedule. He just calls and says, "Hey, we're shooting in a couple weeks." And
However,
everybody-
whatever Mr. Zombie wants,
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
whatever he wants, however he wants to.
Hey Dan, do you do conventions like horror conventions?
No, that's interesting. So I haven't. I would go to them as a fan, and I would say, "Well, put a table there." So if people say I brought posters to have you sign, I'd say
Right.
I'll be at that table at 2:00.
Oh.
So I've done that. But now that I have a not-for-profit in which I work 12 months a year for free,
Right.
Yeah.
I might be needing to either fund my movies or the ongoing education of
Right.
my children or whatever.
Well, my buddy Sean has a convention called Tampa Bay Screens. They have it. This is sixth year, I think.
Yeah. I
Fifth
think
or
it's
sixth year they're doing.
6th year.
And
I think Sean's in touch with a gentleman named Chris Rowe, who's my He handles those convention appearances.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have him
Yeah.
contact them, and then maybe.
I think they're usually talking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I believe it was related to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, day before. If I'm wrong, let's make sure that they are talking.
Okay.
But yeah, I do them, and I don't. You guys, I don't like taking people's money. Fortunately for me, Mrs. Roebuck, no, she's no problem.
Well, Tammy
But
will sit next to you, and she'll take the money, and you can just sign
Yeah.
the autograph.
And you can look the other way. You can look the other way. Like that.
We also, I mean, you know, it's interesting we go to the conventions, and the last time we were in Dallas, people would say, where's Dudes? Where's River's Edge? So we kept sending the nice lady who was working with us out to the CVS to get new 8x10s.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I've been in such a variety of things. It's not really, and I still have I still work all the time. So, you know, this is not my sole source of income, but, you know, I've learned that it makes people happy, and you know, there's Rob Zombie collectors are rabid.
Oh yeah,
you like to have all their posters signed and everything, and that's good. And you know, maybe there'll be merchandise from the Munsters, so I'll have that with me. But we like it, and I really am a people person. My father said to me once, you know, you got the perfect job because you like people, and you've got this job, and people want to talk to you about what you do. And I mean, I legitimately enjoy meeting people.
Yeah.
Legitimate.
Oh yeah.
Sean's thing's great. It's a very intimate setting. It's a hotel show, and he usually has 10, 12 guests. I know last time he had Felissa Rose and Dave Sheridan and the guy that played Leatherface.
Yeah, the way it's
3D.
built, it allows the fans to come in and actually have intimate talk time. Like it's a small.
It's cool. It's really really.
It's
cool.
not one of those big
It's
huge
like
conventions where you have to do like time slots and all this stuff. It's just more intimate where you can get connected with your fans.
Right. If you go to like the big ones like Spooky, they have like certain times where the actors come out and you can stand in line and get their autograph and talk to them for 5 seconds and then you're out. But this is more of like a fan friendly, you know, where they get to talk to the people and interact with people, and it's really fun. It's a really cool.
It's not really like regulated where you have to like be out at a certain time and like it's just not. It's just more open. It's more fun. It's more interactive.
He usually does a Friday night and a Saturday.
Yep.
For like I think it's like 6 hours on Saturday and like 4 on on Friday.
But it's definitely fun.
Tampa's, you know, definitely convenient.
Oh yeah.
I think you know someone there, right? No?
But
We'll need to pick you up in a hotel.
Yeah, he asked me to mention it to you, and
yes,
you know,
all good. I think they're connecting on it.
Okay.
You know,
that's exciting.
You know, yeah. So if it doesn't work out this year, maybe another year. Maybe
absolutely. And then we'll have to get you into the studio.
He said one of his favorite movies is Cave Woman. So.
Oh, Cave Girl.
Cave Girl. I'm sorry, Cave Girl.
Please, you don't say his favorite movie is Citizen Koch.
Because I told him I told him I was having you on. He was like, "Wait a minute, he's in Cave Girl." He goes, "I freaking love that movie." He goes, "I would love to have him on in Tampa Bay Screams." I said, "All right, I'll mention it."
You know, Chris, tell him he should look up, and everybody else could too. So we asked Tammy what her first thing was, but nobody asked me.
Oh, I didn't get that far. Chris liked to interrupt.
Right, because Tammy was talking so much. My first movie was called Cave Girl. It was the first movie I auditioned for, and I ended up with the lead role.
Nice.
Now,
I wish I had
Cave
that
Girl is say it again.
I wish I had that luck.
Yeah, I don't know. You've never seen Cave Girl. No, but the thing is, Cave Girl, I take my shots. But I want to say, without David Oliver's direct intervention in my life, the guy who created and directed and produced Cave Girl, it would not have led me on the path that I was on. It was because of Cave Girl that another guy saw me, and that's how I ended up in River's Edge. Sure. So, you know, you never know where God's plan is taking you. So Cave Girl, although it's easy to make fun of it, it's still it's very special to me.
Absolutely.
And And there was nothing like it. Like the guy never made a movie before. So we went to make what any other person would have done in 2 weeks. Cave Girl, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Because you're just shooting on a location in the mountains of California. We were there for 2 months.
Oh my God.
We shot and shot and shot and shot. That's how movies were done. I didn't know. This guy would literally, we would shoot a master, and then he would say, the sun's not, we'll do the coverage. And then we'd come back like 3 weeks later and we'd do the coverage.
Oh my God.
And, which taught me to really pay attention to what I was doing because I had to match
Oh yeah.
Right.
a month afterwards.
That's funny.
But anyway, people can see Cave Girl Second Journey Back in Time. You go to Vimeo and see Cave Girl Second Journey Back in Time.
So was that the movie you were like, oh, yeah, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life? Is that what helped you decide what you wanted to do for the rest of your life?
Well, I decided that, years earlier after seeing Give 'Em Hell Harry with James Whitmore. But Cave Girl was such a unique experience. We lived on a commune. We lived in what was a gay dude ranch.
Mhm.
Now it's a Christian camp. But we lived in this weird house, and the crew was in trailers on the property, and we all lived together. We all ate together.
Yeah.
We worked, I think, 6 days a week. I mean, it was crazy. And we were like, there was no way to get out because we didn't have cars. They made us all drive up in one mobile home.
Oh my
Oh
God.
wow.
There was no leaving once we were there. And when we were there was no mobile home. Couldn't go to the places we were shooting.
Yep.
A mile into the mountains. So we just sit around.
Wow.
That's how I thought movies were.
Well, that is a unique experience. Very.
It was great. But people watch. You guys, you'll enjoy it. Cave Girl's Second Journey Back in Time. Rarely does the guy who should be embarrassed by the work go back and revisit it with such joy. And it is a joyful kind of revisitation.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of
I'm
fun.
gonna have to watch
It's a lot of
Absolutely gonna have to watch that one. So now in high school, were you taking theater or film or?
Yeah, I went. I mean, we didn't have that. I went to a Catholic school, so there wasn't that didn't exist. There was nothing like that. So I did theater a bit in high school, but mostly I did theater at the community theater. I walked into the Pennsylvania Playhouse at 13 years old, and I don't know that I left again until I moved out of town.
Oh.
And then I started doing plays elsewhere. But
Yeah.
I did like 40 plays before I even moved out of Pennsylvania.
Oh wow, you got those acting chops early. Acting chops.
But yeah, I'd acted them and I directed them and I wrote them. And, I was like little Orson Welles Jr. of the.
So if you had one bit of advice to give new actors, what would you give them?
Oh, well, can I tell you that I have a lot of advice to give actors, and soon they'll be able to read a book called The Audition is the Job and Other Truths That I've Learned in the Land of Make Believe.
Absolutely.
I've been writing a lot for actors based on like the extraordinary journey I've had. And I mean, I would wake up every day and I would think about acting.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentor many actors, and then I get back to them a year later, and they may not have done anything that I suggest they do, but they've smoked, 364 bowls of pot, and they've, played 364 days of video games, and they've put 975 hours onto Facebook and Instagram.
Oh yeah.
But they haven't acted.
Yeah.
They haven't auditioned. They haven't done a play. They haven't done anything. And it strikes me as the thing that hurts my heart the most is when I was 6, I started talking about when I'm on TV, and we have a picture here of me in a cardboard television because I said it all the time. At 6, 7 years old, my parents got me that cardboard television so I could pretend I was on TV. And every decision I had to make from 6, 7 years old till now was about being on TV. And I talk about a lot about the white noise, and the white noise is getting louder and louder and louder. It used to be drinking, and then it was drinking and drugs, and then it was drinking and drugs and porn, and now it's drinking and drugs and, you know, thinking you're 20 years old and you're going to change the world and dictate how everybody else should live, and because of your limited knowledge of anything. And the kids, and then it's the Facebook, and then it's caring what other people think, and then all of a sudden you've done nothing. You know, and there's me, and I've done everything. So people say, how, you know, why him and not me? Because when, you know, you were smoking your bowl, I was writing a play. You know, when you were, you know, doing, I don't know, whatever, you were on Facebook, I was writing a movie and directing a movie. So, you know, and then when I get to work, man, I work hard and I work solid, and I don't let anybody down. I know my lines. I know the character. Don't force any point of view on any director. Like, I'm giving them orange, and the director says I need apple. I give them apple. It's their pie. It's mine. So, hopefully Tammy keeps saying, once we've edited the other movie, that I'm not allowed to make a movie next year, because 2 movies in 10 months, 2 feature films at the level we've done them, is a little hard.
Definitely not an easy feat.
It's led me to taking my blood pressure every day.
Oh yeah. I can't imagine doing that. I mean, I get anxiety and stress, but that's a whole nother thing. I'm medicated for that.
It's funny. I've never stressed about producing a movie, getting the cast together, finding locations, everything. And I've been trying to put this movie together for the last few months, and I need a locker room that has showers, like a high school setting, like a locker room with showers. Can't find it. And it got so stressful that I put the movie on hiatus, and it's been probably 4 months now, and I'm actually trying to restart it. And that was the first time that I've ever stressed out about anything like that. It's always been fun to me.
What happens in that scene?
What happens in it?
Yeah. Is it one scene or is it a lot of scenes?
There's 2 scenes in there, and
one's a death scene.
Two people get killed. I'm a big slasher.
Yeah, he does
slasher
slashers.
movie, horror movie guy, and you know, it's kind of slumber party.
So we're just gonna build it we're just gonna build it on the set.
Yeah. So
build it in the studio.
But what about? Look, I'm always, you know, the locations are key, and when you watch the movies that Tammy and I make, you'll never. The locations are what belie the fact, you know, that people know when a movie's a low budget movie.
Yep.
Right.
Have you gone to, you're not having luck at schools? Have you gone to health club?
No.
Gone to all those gyms that were closed for months and months? Well, maybe not there, but
the problem is the places that I found, they wanted too much money. Like, our budgets are small, like $3,000 small, and you know, they wanted like $500-600 for 2 scenes. It wasn't worth it to me to pay that much money for 2 scenes.
And then when they find out what kind of movie it is,
they're like, find out what kind of movie it is, and it's just been really difficult.
It's frustrating, but you know what? Like I said, we're just gonna build it in the studio.
Now we're talking about building the set.
But you're now I'm so filmmaker. Let's have a dialogue.
Sure.
$500 to shoot it right and quickly. You're going to build a shower, rent lockers, have to build 2 rooms to go from the shower to the lockers. Yeah. Surely you're going to spend more than $500 on that.
Yeah. We're just talking. We've been talking.
You know, I'm just throwing that. People are always saying, you know, in Pennsylvania, you know, let's build a studio, and I'm like, for what? Listen, you know, I'm on every strata of everything. They shoot TV shows in studios because they can build the main set, and they can be in that set all the time. Mm-hmm. But when we're doing movies, I'm on a soundstage of a movie so rarely anymore.
Yeah.
Generally, if it's a movie, we're shooting in a live location. Even something like The Fugitive, the only sets they built as I recall, were the when we went through the huge duct system with the water and everything. That was a huge set. Nothing else we shot was on a set. It was all on a location.
Right.
Yeah.
And we always shoot on location. Always.
Yeah. This is the only time that we're actually.
This is the first time we've talked about it.
Yeah. Literally the first time. Usually we're on location, but because it was just so difficult to find that we just, because I have a soundstage in my studio here, so that's why we were like, if we can't find it, we're just gonna build it.
But you got to build running water, and you got to have a runoff for the water, and you got to aim the water.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole special effect then. That water,
it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Like because I'm the one having to build it, so it's like I was just thinking about the sub pump and
it's a last resort. It's definitely a last resort.
Yeah, I mean, if you have it, I would just hit every. Like you got to get, there might be, like places you don't like there might be a Masonic temple that has a gym in it, that has a locker room and a shower in it. There might be a theater that has lockers.
There's a lot of places that have that facility, but they don't want naked girls and dead people. And I mean, that's the big hurdle I'm trying to overcome.
Yeah. Just say you're shooting a comedy.
Right. And I had this whole lie, and I was just like, yeah, it's a cheerleader movie, and this girl gets bullied, and she perseveres in the end. And I left a lot of the stuff out. And but then I was just like, I'm going to get on set, and these people are going to be like watching us what we're doing, and it's
that's not going to work out too well.
So,
but it's just, I mean, we got like, there's just things you just got to really look. In our last movie, we needed 2 full days in a bar. That would have required us either going in at 4 a.m. and working till 4 p.m. in a bar, but then that's not even a full day, because on our independent movies, a full day is a 15-hour day, not a 12-hour day.
Yeah.
And we finally found like a club. God, I love these people. That their bar was closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
And it was how things turn out. It was exactly as written. It had, like, the DP couldn't believe it. He was like, it's got everything you said.
Yeah.
The shuffleboard, the long throw from the door. Like, we wanted to see the nun come in and see her in the background with me in the foreground. And the thing was situated so we could do all of that. But it just took a lot of looking.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm actually writing and directing a TV show, and one of them has a lounge, like a bar lounge, and I actually work in a location where I can actually use the nightclub and the lounge area, and I was definitely lucky in that as well. So I definitely know the advantages of that. It's definitely lucked out with that.
Maybe I need to get a job at a gym.
for like a month.
For a month. Yeah, you
just work overnight shift.
So that's the funny movie. You take jobs so that you have locations. You gotta shoot in a grocery store, so you're like, I'll do your nighttime watchman.
Right. Yup.
like Bowfinger.
Oh yeah. I actually just watched that movie again last week. It was very funny. I actually really liked that movie.
Danny and I really like watching the movies that are kind of the behind the scenes of filmmaking, or like noises off.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I like Jane the Virgin. Like the guy, the Jane's dad is a telenovela star. Right. So they're always showing him on set, shooting the telenovelas. And he's really dramatic, when he talks and stuff. He's just hilarious. And so there's a lot of that in that show where you got the behind the scenes, and they're talking about grips and gaffers and DPs and all this stuff. And I don't know. It's just it's such a well-rounded show, and I really enjoy it. I'm sad I only got 5 episodes left, because I'm going to be sad when it's over. I might rewatch it.
You go back to Lost or Man in the High Castle.
Yeah. You know what? On Lost, I think I only watched like 2 episodes, the first one and the last one.
I never watched it.
Oh, then you cut out the middleman.
Pretty much. But if the last episode was a movie, Like I would have liked it. I think it was like the last episode was. I liked it that much. The last episode of Lost. I don't know. It should have been a movie. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if you guys relate to that, but I definitely thought so.
no, it was the last episode was just lovely.
Absolutely, it was beautifully done. I like how it was just the score on it was good. I just liked how it was done. It was very fun. But that is all we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us at Killer Collab Podcast with our wonderful guests, Dan and Tammy Roebuck. Thank you for joining us
Thanks for having
today.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us an opportunity to see each other.
Absolutely. I always like to fill in that gap for you, so you guys have that FaceTime. That FaceTime.
You're very nice. Thank you.
Thank
I wonder
you.
if we could do this on our own, Tammy. We got to figure that out. Like, if there's a way to.
I think we
Just-
have.
I can
Oh, we have that.
I could moderate if you want. You want me to moderate?
Yeah. Tammy said,
I'll just
thank you to everybody and thank you for looking at and supporting our films.
absolutely.
And we'll come back anytime to talk about this stuff.
And make sure you send me any links that you want me to put into our descriptions because we're on all major podcasting websites as well as YouTube. So Anchor, Spotify, Google, Apple, we're on all those. So any links that you want me to put in the descriptions, let me know, and send them to me.
Tammy will do that.
And thanks for getting back so fast to me, Tammy, because usually
you're welcome.
this is the hardest part of the show is finding guests. And
It
a lot
is.
of times you reach out to people and they don't ever answer you back, or they'll answer you back a week later. And it was very refreshing having you, literally
Yes.
a couple minutes after I
Breath
sent
of
you the
fresh air.
message that
Breath
you,
of fresh
This is why she's my wife. She gets stuff done.
As always, joined with Chris Lato for Raper Films. Ladies
Thank
and
you.
gentlemen, stay happy, stay healthy, enjoy. Thank you.